Right, peeps, I'm back. And you may wonder why I'm looking a bit in the dark, because the truth is it's evening here. And I've just come back from watching Shakespeare at Mona Vale, outside performance of Richard III, and the only way I could get through it was by drinking a couple of bottles of wine and thinking about FPL, you know what I mean? Because watching some hunchback walking across the grass, waffling on about my horse, my kingdom for a horse, and all that lot of bollocks, has made me think about FPL, and in particular, this new double game week we've got in game week 32. Newcastle have got a double game week. It came out the blue just before the deadline, like the one did the other week. And to be honest, peeps, I play a lot of chess, and there's nothing I like more than planning ahead. I struggle in chess to plan 8 weeks, 8 moves ahead. Sorry, Pips, I'm a bit drunk. Like I said, 2 bottles of wine, but all the better for it. You know what I mean? So think on. So right, so planning ahead. Like I said, I struggle to plan 8 moves ahead in chess. You often don't need to. FPL, I have actually planned the next 8 game weeks. Literally, you see, I've got them all down here. I've planned it all. Right, this is my week this week. Not worried about that. I'm in for a huge red arrow. No chips played. No Villa. But surprisingly, I've got a green arrow already. Because obviously, people are so in a lather about double game weeks. They've taken hits to get Watkins and Rodgers and all these people. So I've suddenly got a green arrow, which no doubt will turn massive red. But we're not worried about that because, unlike you lot, and nearly all of you lot, I have not yet played my assistant, my assistant manager chip. So this is mainly for you guys that haven't, and also for you guys to see next level planning. Okay, so let's see. Game week 26. Hang on, I just load my saved. What's it? So game week 26, I take out Gakpo and bring in Cunha. Okay, that's all I'm doing this week, forthcoming. Very good team for game week 26. I don't know who our captain is. Salah away at City probably, although surely there has to be a better option. But I will probably end up captaining Salah. Anyway, we go forward to game week 29. I won't insult you all because you've all done your planning. I know you're all good people. You've all done your planning for game week 29 already, haven't you? You wouldn't have gone into this game week without thinking about 29, whether you bought Rodgers, Watkins or whatever. You know that you could get a good team for 29. So this is what I've done. I've seen a few things today that's put the idea in my head about Salah. A lot of people have started murmuring about getting rid of Salah in game week 29. It's not my idea. People have been saying it, and I had a look at it, and it actually makes a lot of sense, especially for myself, who haven't played the assistant manager chip yet. So I'm going to show you how you can navigate all the way through to game week 34 without using a wild card, without using a free hit, blah, 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 and get a really good team and use your assistant manager chip game week 31 to 33. Not only have I thought about it, I've actually thought about who I'm buying and everything. So here we are, game week 29. I kick Salah out and I kick somebody else out in midfield. I can't even remember who now. Somebody gets kicked out anyway, peeps. So I get Salah out. Of course, it's Salah, isn't it? So I get Salah out. I get Ahmad in. I get Ndoye out, and I get Haaland in. And to fund that, I take out Colwell and get Greaves in. It means I've got 0 in the bank. But, you're all going to do this differently because you've all got different amounts of money. But it is possible for most people to get Haaland in for game week 29 and captain him home to Bournemouth. You look at this team. I've got Fernandes and Ahmad away at Leicester. I've got 2 Bournemouth players at home to Brentford. I've got Captain Haaland away home to Brighton. The only person I haven't got is Chris Wood, who's away at Ipswich. A lot of people are going to be captaining him, but I'm not. I'm going to be captaining Haaland. And once you get to game week 30 or game week 29 or whatever, at some point in the season, you've got to put a marker in the sand. You don't just follow the template for the entire season. At some point, you have to grow a pair and strike out. You know what I mean? So this is me striking out, because you've got to do it. You can't just follow for the entire season. So Salah out, who didn't have a fixture anyway that particular week, and Haaland in. This is a cracking team for game week 29. No, the defence is a bit iffy, granted, but the whole point of 29, that'll change. Pickford to go in there. The whole point of 29 is to get through it without using the Shree hit chip. Right, now we get to game week 30, and a lot of people are talking about wildcarding. No, I'm not. What am I doing? Absolutely nothing in game week 30. You can see here, cracking team again for game week 30, because Haaland at home to Leicester. This is the thing. This is why getting rid of Salah in 29 is so good, because you get Haaland captain in 29, then you get Haaland captain home to Leicester in game week 30. Absolutely fantastic. I think Salah's got a good fixture. He's home to Everton. He's going to be up for that. It's absolute chaos, Liverpool versus Everton, as we saw the other day. But the thing is, Haaland is a better captain. You cannot deny Haaland at home to Leicester is a better captain than Salah at home to Everton. A lot of people will captain Salah, but the whole point is you cannot be afraid. You're in game week 30. If you want to do well at FPL, at some point you have to make a move. You know what I mean? Else, what's the point? What's the point of just copying all the way to the end, playing it safe? It's not going to get you anywhere, peeps. I think the optimal strategy is not the optimal strategy if everyone's doing it. You know what I mean? You probably don't, but 2 bottles of wine, it makes a bit of sense. So, game week 30, I'm good. Semenyo, Clivert at home to Ipswich. Haaland home to Leicester. Cunha home to West Ham. Isaac home to Brentford. It looks great, doesn't it? As for, if you can't afford it, I'll tell you what, peeps. If you can't afford this still, there's one player who we can use to make all these magic happen, and that is Palmer. Because Chelsea are a load of shite at the moment. And the thing is, at some point, Saka's coming back. So as soon as Saka's back, you can take out Palmer and free up like 7.8.9 of a million by making that switch. And that's what I'll be doing. You see here, I've got 0 in the bank. And it's, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, price-wise. You wonder why I make early transfers during the season. And this is why. You know what I mean? This is edge of the seat stuff. Even one single price change in the next few weeks cuts me out of this plan. And Palmer is the key, because we're all thinking about getting rid of him. But the question is when. And I put it to you, Pete, the best time is when Saka comes back. Right, so we get to game week 31. And I've actually taken out Fernandes in here and bought in Gordon, because he's away at Leicester, and Man United had a game against Man City. So I bought Gordon in. I'm lining up the chips for the following week. So here we go, 32. This is when the magic happens. Game week 32 is a new double game week. I might have stuffed up here, peeps. I might have to do it a week earlier. But I've got Howe in. I think I have to bring him in the week before, to be honest. But Howe has 5 games in 3 weeks. And they do actually start the previous week. I haven't brought him in yet, but I can bring him in that previous week. They've got Leicester in game week 31. Yeah, where are we, peeps? Right, they've got away at Leicester in 31. So I start my chip then. Then they've got 2 fixtures in the double game week. Home to Man United and home to Palace. And then the following week, they've probably, it's not confirmed yet, also got a double game week with Villa and Ipswich. So using the assistant manager chip between game week 31 and game week 33, 5 matches for Newcastle. And the major benefit is you do not need to change the manager. So you don't have to use a single transfer to bring in Howe, because you just bring him in and use him over those 3 matches. You know, those of you who've used Slot and Emery this week will know that it's a real pain having to change them and using a transfer. Well, using Howe, you do not have to. Okay, so we're going up now. So this is a double game week. Go back one. This is a double game week for Newcastle. Okay, so they've got a double game week and Palace have got a double game week. So then you might say, everyone else at this stage is using their wild card in game week 32 so that you can use a bench boost in game week 33. Okay, so we go forward to game week 33. Now this is my team for game week 33, and I haven't used a wild card. I haven't used a free hit in 29. I haven't used any chips apart from my assistant manager. Now you look at this team here. This is all done without, and I've even got a spare transfer here. But you can see I've got, obviously this could change because we don't know the results of the FA Cup. But according to Planet FPL, this is the most likely scenario for doubles at the moment. So you can see my midfield here. I've got Saka away at Ipswich because I've taken out Palmer speculatively here because I'm assuming Saka's back and will be playing in that game away at Ipswich. If he's not, it's no problem. I can change Palmer to somebody else. But we've got, you can see my Bournemouth players. This is where everyone's getting Bournemouth at the moment. What's that cat doing? Going crazy. Right, so this is why people have got Bournemouth, because they're just so good every single week. Hopefully they stay in the FA Cup and they do have this double. So Ahmad as well, double. Isaac again. And Haaland with a double. You see, Salah hasn't got a double, which is why taking out Salah in 29 is not such a bad thing. You know, we go back again and have a look. 32, you're going to be captaining Isaac because he's got a double. So you're not going to captain Salah anyway. You know, they're home to West Ham, but you wouldn't captain Salah because you're going to captain Isaac because it's a double game week. Game week 31, captaining Isaac away at Leicester. You know, I think Liverpool away at Fulham. So you can see that he's not essential. He's not essential, Salah, at all, because they don't have a double. Admittedly, they're away to Leicester in the double game week, but you're not going to captain him. You know, you might get a couple of goals, get 10, 15 points or whatever, but you're not going to captain him, are you? And whereas Haaland has Everton and Villa in this double game week, I don't know who you captain in this double game week. Do you captain Haaland? I suspect you captain Isaac, home to Ipswich, away at Villa. And you can see I've got a very healthy splattering of doubles here. I've got no double for my keeper. I could use my transfer to bring in a double game week keeper or whatever. You know, I've got a pretty good splattering of double game week players. And then you get to game week 34. And this is where you see the problem lies for a lot of people. You've got a lot of blanks because the players that double don't have a fixture the following week. So this is when I use my free hit chip. And Salah will, of course, be in my free hit chip. So I'll have plenty of Liverpool players for this game week 34. I hope you're keeping up with this, peeps, because I'm talking a lot of bollocks. You know, I'm half out of it. I'm pretty out of it, to be honest. But I think I'm making a little bit of sense to myself. in the fact that game week 4 is good, and then you lot, of course, have already used your where are we? Pitch, I've gone to hit the wrong button. Right, so we go on to game week 35 now. I told you I've mapped that entire season almost. Game week 35, you lot would have already used your wild card in game week 32 to line up for the double and to use your double game week. I won't have done because I will have been using my assistant manager chip for the last 3 weeks. So we get to game week 35. This is when I wildcard this team. You see Semenyo and Clive are away at Arsenal. I might not want them anymore. Useless. Palmer probably won't even be there because, like I said, Saka would have been coming in. Fernandez I haven't actually changed all these ones yet. But this will be when I use my wild card. And then we get to game week 36. Now, none of us know what doubles are in game week 36. So we've got no idea. But by using my wild card in game week 35, I can set myself up for using my bench boost in 36. This is a week I'll be using my bench boost. And then we're just going to cruise to the end of the season. Job done. Money in the bank. We're on to a winner. You know what I mean? So this is my new strategy. And it makes sense because Salah will be in for me for the last 3 weeks. The only week Salah's going to be missing is game week 29, and he doesn't have a fixture anyway. Game week 30, when Salah is a much better, I don't know why it's gone back to Nat Peeps, but game week 30, when Salah, oh Jesus, right, start again. Game week 30, when Haaland does a much better fixture than Salah. Game week 31, when Isaac's away at Leicester and Salah was away at Fulham, so he wouldn't probably captain him in anyway. The diehards will. Game week 32, where Isaac's got his double game week, so he wouldn't captain Salah anyway. Game week 33, which is a big double game week, where Salah doesn't even have a double game week, so he's no need for that. So they're the only weeks that Salah is missing, and then I bring him back on my wild card in game week 35. It makes perfect sense. I don't see a problem with that, peeps. It looks perfect. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I like, with my chess, I like looking forward. And while I was watching this Richard III, he was very good, by the way, the actor. He's had the hunchback and the trading foot going on and all this. But the whole time, all I could think about was the fact that he ended up 10 foot under in the Leicester car park. You know what I mean? But that's by and by, peeps. But anyway, that's my plan, basically, for the entire season. I put a bit of thought into this after it came out, and I thought this is a lot of people. I was watching a few shows, and everyone was confused about their chip strategy and their wild card and all this sort of thing. But to be honest, to me, it looks pretty simple. Once you use Salah as expendable chip for game week 29 and remove him for Haaland, then it all becomes extremely obvious. But I will say, pips, you've got to caveat this. The difference between FPL and chess is that when you move your rook and plan to move your rook in 6 moves, you do not expect it to get a cruciate ligament injury after 2 moves. It moves 2 squares, falls over like that Chelsea Madueke, falls over like Madueke, and you can't complete your move. Chess isn't like that, but FPL is. So we never know what's going to happen. All we know is to expect the unexpected. But if you're looking at this type of thing and you can't afford it or whatever, just think that Palmer is the route that opens up everything. You know what I mean? So at some point he is going to become Saka or somebody else, anyone apart from Palmer, because Maresca has completely wrecked that Chelsea team. I was very annoyed when they got rid of Poch. They were doing so well from January to May last year. They were really improving. Maresca took over. They looked good at the start, you know. I mean, they were even talking about championship, weren't they, a couple of months ago? But they've just fallen off a cliff, and they've been exposed. And the more and more Maresca tries, the worse they look. You know, they've lost that chaos element that they had. You know, a lot of people complain about Jackson, but he was that kind of spark, that kind of initiated the chaos of those counter-attacks that Chelsea did so well. Where were they today? You know, they're not there now, are they? They're playing safe, they're playing boring, and they're rubbish. So Palmer, basically, is gone, peeps. You know, I mean, he's gonna get points at certain stages, but the most important use of Palmer at the moment is he's just placeholding for Saka, whoever else you need to make these plans work. But I know a lot of you throwing your hands up at the thought of getting rid of Salah. But just for 4 or 5 weeks, it does actually make a lot of sense. You know, he's got probably a lot less games to play than Haaland has, worse fixtures, and, you know, okay, he's going to get points, just like Chris Wood gets points. You know, if you don't own Chris Wood, he gets like 2 or 3 goals, and it's annoying, isn't it? But it doesn't ruin your entire season. And the same way Salah, if he's not captain, and it doesn't hurt you so much, you know, he's obviously going to get goals and whatever. But hopefully, so is Haaland. And like I said, you cannot just sheepwalk your way to the end of the season. At some point, you've got to strike out. You know, what's the point otherwise? You know, you've got to play your own game. I've done it. 90% of engaged managers have already used assistant manager chips because they can't handle the fact that they're zigging while others are zagging, and they don't want red arrows from not playing it. I'm quite happy to get red arrows for the next few weeks while you lot all use your assistant manager chips. But I've got mine to come, pips. I've got 29 from my triple captain. I'm also quite confident I'm going to get quite a few points from Newcastle assistant manager. I'll chuck out Salah, get Haaland in. I won't even need to use a wild card for the big double game week. I'll wild card in game week 35 after using the free hit in the blank 34, and use my double game week in game week 36. Okay, probably my bench players will only have one fixture, but the double game week chip is the most overrated chip in FPL because often, yes, you might get two games out of them, but you know, you end up making so many compromises to use that double game week chip, it ends up hardly worth the time and effort most of the time. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now. You know, I've had enough. There's a fly on my computer. Get off, fly. Fly on my computer. Can't get the fly. And I've got to go. So I'll talk to you all later. And like and subscribe. And hopefully this has made sense. Because when I get up in the morning and replay it, I'll probably think he had too much wine last night. You know what I mean? Why did I do it? Why, oh, why did I do that video? You know what I mean? But hopefully it makes sense, peeps. So like and subscribe and all that bollocks because, you know you want to. And the more subscribers I get, the more times you're going to get me talking absolute rubbish to you. So cheers, peeps. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you all later. Remember, think ahead, peeps, and plan ahead. But the problem is, of course, as I said, it's not like chess, and it'll all go tits up. But I'll talk to you all later anyway. Cheers for now.